talking about the falafel, not just any ordinary falafel, famous falafel. So we thought, let's bring in a Middle Eastern food expert, and we have Julie Sagir. Julie, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. So this is the first time working together. You've been on the show before.
Yes, I know. I was very excited to be cooking with you. So.
Oh, thank you very much. What is falafel? Let's get started for people who may not know.
All right, falafel is basically a Middle Eastern chickpea, fava bean, and spice little patty, or croquette, if you will.
Okay.
So basically, you start off with some chickpeas, and some fava beans. Dried beans.
Okay.
Yeah. It's key to use the dried beans because you're going to soak them overnight, and then the following day you're going to drain the water.
Okay.
You're going to lay them out in some paper towels.
When you soak them, are you covering the whole, like how much water are you putting on top of that?
Yeah, you're covering the whole, whole bowl of beans. And
Okay.
make sure that you have a good enough amount of water because the beans are basically going to absorb that water, and they're going to kind of like reconstitute themselves, bring them back to life, if you will.
So are you doing, now, what is the other bean you said, which is?
It's the fava bean,
yes.
broad bean.
Because you can use, you were saying before, you could use some with or some without.
Exactly. Some people use just chickpeas, some people use just fava beans, and some use a combination of the both. And I like a combination of the both.
Well, it is a famous recipe, so we can't argue with that.
It's from my Aunt Lila, so this one goes out to her.
All right. So you put them in water overnight, and then what do you do next?
And then basically you drain the water out, and you've reconstituted your beans here. You put them in the food processor. So you're going to kind of grind them up so they come like a nice grain like that, right? You don't want to push them too far because you're not making hummus. So you don't want to get a paste. You want to get a grain-like consistency here.
Okay.
All right? And then we're going to add some garlic, of course. It's going to give a lot of flavor to that.
Oh, yeah. That's not first date food, is it?
No, unless you're both eating it.
Unless you're both eating it.
Exactly. Then we have some onions, and then our spices, which is key in falafel.
Sorry, what is that?
This is our spice mixture. We've got cumin and coriander, which you pretty much always find in falafel. Those are
Coriander is another word for cilantro.
Exactly.
Yes.
Very good. And then we've got some heat, which I like to add some cayenne, some red pepper flakes, and the paprika, the sweetness, kind of balances everything out.
Would you add any fresh coriander or cilantro, or does it have to be dried?
You know, some people do. Some people actually put parsley and fresh cilantro and, fresh herbs in it. But for me, I like a more earthy, kind of zesty, spicy falafel.
Okay.
So I'm actually putting the parsley and all those great greens on it in the sandwich. So I don't really need it in my mixture here. So we basically are mixing it up here.
Okay.
And let's see if we can try to get one going.
Sure.
All right, this is our cool little falafel maker.
Dip it in water.
Dip it in water so it doesn't stick.
Then you have oil here. What kind of oil?
Vegetable oil.
Okay.
And there you go. And you can just give it a little. It's a festive falafel party. Yeah, you want to dip it in the water so the falafel mixture doesn't stick to your maker. Or obviously, if you don't have one of these, you can make them like you make meatballs.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah, but you don't want to make them too thick like meatballs because you want them to cook all the way through.
Right.
So you want to make sure that they're nice and somewhat flat.
So you don't want to, you don't want a raw, so to speak, falafel is what you're saying.
Right. You don't want it to be kind of chewy inside. You want it to be nice and crispy on the outside.
So
and,
once we've cooked it, how do you dress it up here?
So here's a party over here. We've got, in traditional falafel, you have tomatoes, you've got radishes, scallions, Persian cucumbers, parsley mint, and the signature accompaniment is our pickled turnips over there.
Oh, wow.
And then our tahini sauce, which is also very traditional, you'll see with the falafel.
Well, I hope you stick around. We're going to try this at the end of the show. In the meantime, 9WSYR.com.
Thank you.
That's where you can find more on this recipe. Coming up next, we're dancing with the stars. Well, at least a couple stars anyway. Vlad and Natalia are here. What to expect tonight with Dancing with the Stars? A quick step in the Pasto Double. That's coming up next. Well, as you know, we had record heat over the weekend, and now is the time to be thinking about getting your air conditioning ready for the summer heat to come. If there are any questions about AC or your AC unit or whatever the case is about air conditioning, email us, bridgestreet@9WSYR.com. Frank LaSala from Green Homes by Entherm will be here tomorrow to answer those questions. Yeah, it is heating up, so email away.
Speaking of heating up, I just tried one of the little falafel appetizers.
Right.
And, ooh, those have some kick to them.
Yeah, they do. It has a little something extra in there because I think it should, it shouldn't be bland. You should get some different kind of flavors going on
and you can
different
eat it
times.
both ways.
You can. This is a little appetizer kind of platter here with the tahini sauce in the center, and that gives it a little cooling there with the lemon and tahini going on. So,
Great.
yeah, the sandwich wraps, obviously.
Julie, we were talking before. Why
Yes.
can't you use canned? I mean, you can, but what are you losing when you use canned chickpeas?
You're losing really the texture and the body and keeping this falafel mixture together. You'll have to, if you use a can, you'll definitely have to use some sort of binder like flour or something like that. So, with mine, there's no flour in there, and that's what you get with the dried beans.
And you have some events coming up very quickly?
Yeah, Baldwinsville this coming Saturday. We're doing tabbouleh.
Ooh,
Yeah,
can't wait.
Baldwinsville Library.
I'm going to have another one of these. These are delicious, and I love the tahini sauce. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. We always appreciate it.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.